Hello, everybody. Our guest tonight is none other than Rex Steven Sikes, aka the Mindset Master, the Attitude Doctor. Rex has spent over 4 decades helping thousands of people transform their lives through innovative programs like mind design and directed questions. He's an expert in NLP, the law of attraction, and brain science. He's been featured on countless platforms sharing his wisdom. In fact, you probably have caught him someplace, but now you're going to get a close up and personal. He's also the author of Life on Your Terms. Are you living your best life on your terms? Pick up a nugget or two here. And he is the recipient of the prestigious Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. I can't wait to hear more about that. Please join me in welcoming Rex Steven Sikes to the Cynthia Manion Show. Woo-hoo!
What a pleasure and a privilege and an honor to be here.
The pleasure is all mine. All mine. We are just so excited that you are here. So, Rex, you've been called the Mindset Master. What led you down the path of exploring how the mind works and harnessing its power?
Wow, it started when I was a kid. My parents stuck me in acting classes and dancing classes and acrobatic classes when I was 3 and 4 years old. And I was raised Catholic at the same time. Although neither of my parents were Catholic, I was raised Catholic. And I thought the priest had some kind of special connection. They had all these robes and incense and stuff going on. And I was like, Mom, do we have any of these books that would? So she started reading the Bible and Think and Grow Rich and the Bhagavad Gita and other books we had around the house when I was about 6 years old. And from that point on, I was like, this is amazing, And so by the time I was, old enough to read on my own, I started taking over and reading daily these guys. I've read, for example, I've read Think and Grow Rich and Lasting Success most of my life, almost every day, with the exception of about a year. Daily. Something from it. If I don't read a chapter or, a page or something, but around the time I was 25, I encountered some difficulty. I write about it in the book. And I locked myself in my apartment for between 6 to 8 weeks. I sat in a chair and I used everything I knew. I used hypnosis and meditation. I used affirmations and visualizations, and I kept going, And about 3 weeks in, I realized I was saying things like, why did this happen to me? How come I'm so unlucky? How could I be so stupid? How long is this going to take for me to get, over this? And I realized I didn't care about those answers. I didn't care how long it was going to take. I wanted to know how soon it would take. I didn't want to go, how hard is it going to be to go back and get my life? I want to know how easy and how quickly I could begin to do things and how much fun it could be instead of how hard. So it occurred to me I was asking all the wrong questions at some point. And so I started to ask myself different questions, like how easily can I go out and find the confidence that I need to face my friends and family and the people, and how soon can I discover resources that I didn't know I had? And that led the whole thing to directed questions. And I've been teaching it and sharing it ever since. That's now about 50 years.
Wow. How about that? Starting practically from the cradle.
Yeah, really.
Do a shout out to Alex and Jake. Thank you so much for joining us. Jake's over in Melbourne, Australia.
Oh, I love Melbourne.
Yes, I have not been there yet. It's on my bucket list.
I'd like to go back. It's a great place. Melbourne is good.
Oh, well, Jake, you have to put us together and do a show, a mastermind, a life on your terms.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell us about mind design and how it helps people achieve their goals? Did you start it when you were 12?
No, well, it's a process, yeah, because back in the 70s and 80s, when I was starting out, I was doing meditation. I'm also an actor. And so a lot of the exercises and stuff that came through my childhood acting and then my professional acting in the Screen Actors Guild, I brought to, and presentation skills, I brought to what I was doing. And I started researching, the brain. And one thing that was really important was I discovered, the placebo effect and some research behind it. At the time, and even until recently, people go, that's the placebo effect. It's, it's BS. Doesn't mean anything. Well, Travis Air Force Base did a study with 157 cancer patients and determined attitude toward the treatment was a greater predictor for the success of the treatment than anything else. So that meant if you thought it was going to help you, it was likely to help you. And if you didn't think it was going to help you, it was likely not help you. And now today we know that it's a placebo effect. It helps you, and the nocebo effect that it doesn't help you. And I thought, well, this is just amazing. So it got me all into the whole brain science and neuroscience. And so what Mind Design, how that came about, it was putting together a bunch of whole brain learning and meditative practices and my work with questions and all of this stuff and the acting exercises and everything, so that you could change your mindset, your thinking, and begin to actually start believing that you could make positive changes in yourself. And by embracing that, you could find a fun, easy, stress-free way to make changes. Because in the 70s, a lot of the stuff was therapy. I did a whole lot of, what they would call violent encounter groups and learning therapy and therapeutic practices. Well, there's Mo. I haven't seen or heard from Mo in a long, long time. Well, there he is. That's cool. Hi, Mo. How you doing? So, and therapy had, all these different kinds of things that you could do, but it really wasn't very, very much fun. And you'd go to workshops and you would work and you would struggle and you would sit and you try and work through your problems. And I went, people should be laughing. They should be dancing. They should be having fun, because you learn far more as a child through play, through exploration, through curiosity, through being captivated and fascinated with what you discover than you ever did in a classroom. Classroom learning is all about memorization and then delivering that memorization in the idea that you take an exam, and if you pass it, you knew it, and if you didn't pass it, you didn't know it, and you're based the grade, and has nothing to do with learning. It has to do with, can you regurgitate information? And it's amazing how many people graduate from college and they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the statistics are that within 6 months, more than 80% of what you learned in college is completely forgotten. Because what you learn on a daily basis, most of it, 80%, is forgotten. And that's why I created Mind Design in this thing called the Mastery Loop, which is about how you can learn and embrace change and positivity and have fun and make tremendous advances in your own personal development without all the struggle, without all the hard stuff and sweat and that was traditional. I've been doing this 50 years, and a lot of people have joined me. And some still criticize me. Back in the 70s, 80s, they're all like, "You don't take this seriously enough. This is silly. You're being goofy." And I go, "Yeah, but they're transforming. They're changing. They're making their life dream and goals come true, and they're doing it in a way that they enjoy." And I'll wrap it up this way.
You don't have to. It's okay. It's our show.
Well,
if a lot of admirers here. Rex says Mo says you're his mentor and that he loves you.
Oh, I love Mo.
Hi, Robert. Hi, Eric Flanore.
Hi, Eric. Oh, that's awesome. And Mo, and this is so cool. So many cool. Yes. But the thing is if the destination is important and that's where you want to end up, well, then it's more important how you get there than it is actually getting there. Because, you could die along the way or anything could come along, and I discovered this actually as a child. I used to, as many kids did, I would lie in the back seat of the car on a family travel trip, somewhere, and I go, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there?" You know what I mean? I think that's pretty universal. And I hated getting anywhere. I hated going any place. I was okay being there, but I didn't want to get there. And what I discovered was, you know what? The only place you have is the journey. The only place you have is where you're at. And if that's in the backseat of a car, how do you make it fun? So it was important to bring that to our everyday lives and our business. If wherever you are, you could celebrate everything, you've got a good life. If wherever you are, you complain about everything, you don't have that much of a good life.
Dr. Terry Wagner would agree with you. He says, "Hello, beautiful people. Woohoo.
Hello, Dr.
Welcome
Terry
to the
Wagner."
show." And we are just having a wonderful time here because we're wondering why you all aren't playing. Eric B. Flanore is playing. He goes, the Manion, Rex, Sir Rex, and the Mermaid. So he's got a playful.
Oh, very
he's
cool.
got a playful.
I love it. That's great.
Oh, yeah, we love you guys. Something funny, you often talk about affirmations and why they don't work.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is? And how can we make them more effective? Because, everyone's talking about affirmations, although we both know sitting on your sofa eating bonbons, saying your affirmation is only going to make you fat, lazy, and not as bright as Rex Stiles. Sikes.
Well,
Sikes.
it's not that they don't work, but it's that they don't work as well as something else works, and that is this. You know, your brain works through solving problems and exploring the world and essentially asking questions. And if you said, well, what makes you say that, Rex, or is that true? You'd understand that those are questions, you know. And yet, I mean, you know, you can say, well, that's not true, and that's an assertion or a declaration. So an affirmation tends to be an assertion or a declaration. Like, I'm my ideal weight. And if you look in the mirror and you're not your ideal weight, there's a tendency to go, no, you're not. Yeah, I'm super cool.
And go, okay, now you can write it down and go, okay, this is my ideal weight, and this is what I'm going to do to get there. Step one.
Yeah, exactly. In other words, but the point is that no, you're absolutely right, because it's a process. So you could say, I'm not my ideal weight yet, but I can be, and the yet presupposes you will be. So there's all sorts of great stuff in there. But what the brain works on is directions. If I said, Cynthia, where'd you get your shirt? You can say, well, it was a gift. You can say, I bought it at the store. You go, I don't remember. I forgot.
I wore it special for you on the show, baby.
No, I love that. Thank you kindly. But once you answer that, your brain doesn't have to go any further. So
or does it?
Well, if I say, what's the capital of Maryland, your brain doesn't have to go anywhere. Once it's gotten the answer, it's just done. You've gotten the answer. But if I said, how much fun do you think you could have today? You don't know the answer to that. And so your brain will continue to work on it. Hi, Kevin. Your brain will continue to work on it in the same way that if you've ever had what's called the tip of the tongue phenomenon, you know what you want to say, but you can't get to it. It's like the name of that movie is what? The name of that movie is what? Oh, okay. And the more you push it, the harder it is to get. So you go, okay, well, forget it. I give up. And then either a moment later, hours later, or weeks later, you go, oh, it was this movie. I got it. Well, what that tells you is it's called transderivational search, and the brain works on continuing to search and look through everything that you got going in order to deliver the answer. So you don't want the answer to stop the search. You want to ask questions that promote search. So we say, how delighted can I be today? You don't know. You can say, well, I won't be delighted at all and be a curmudgeon. Or you go, wow, in how many different ways can I find myself feeling wonderful? And so what directed questions is, a lot of people have taken that work and said, oh, well, just ask the question why. Like, why is this important to me? And the reason why it's important to me is because of this. And then you've got an answer and it's done. It's not that it's a bad question to ask. It's just that it stops at some point. Or how do I do it? Will stop at some point. Or what if I did this? That's a little bit more open. What if I did that? I'm not really sure. So it's not about having questions that you, and here's really an important part. When I created directed questions and mind design, the whole point was exploration. It's a doorway to adventure. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you're willing to explore, anything is possible. If you just have an answer handed to you, it's not that big a deal. It's like, thank you, and I'm done, right? Capital of Maryland is, and you're done. So it's not about having a list of questions provided to you, like a list of affirmations provided to you. It's about generating the questions that put you on the journey that you want to be on to discover all the incredible things about yourself and the life around you. And so that's learning the art of self-questioning, which is what directed questions is about, that so many people miss because they go, just ask this question, just ask that question, just ask this question, just that. And I've had people write books on my work and put me in chapters of books, sometimes with credit, sometimes without. And the heart of it that everybody keeps missing is it's not about the answer. It's about the feelings and the behaviors and the changes that are possible when you send your mind in a particular direction.
Yeah, just going, well, this is not helpful, laying on my sofa with my bonbons watching TV. It's just a habit.
Well, you can say, how quickly can I discover myself doing those things that get me off the sofa and having more enjoyment in my life? How soon will I discover the kinds of foods that I really like to eat that I can eat daily or weekly or whatever that help me maintain my ideal weight? It's that exploration. It's that questioning process, not just will I get off the couch or not, because that's an easy yes or no answer.
And is this the result I want?
And if they're not the results I want, how can I begin to get the results that I really do want? Or what are my inner motivations that will reveal to me how incredibly wonderful I am, so that the results I get reflect how truly amazing I am? I mean, any number of things.
Dan Altmeyer joined us. He
Hey,
says the
he just wrote a really good book that I'm just
it's a
to
good
crack
one.
open on, aging gracefully, which is important for many, many people.
The destination is a direction, the journey is the reality.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
That's
Well,
good.
and what happens for a lot of people is they, I always go dog crap or diamond, because it's a choice. You know, do you want to live with dog crap or do you want to live with diamonds? And a lot of people live their life like with one foot on the dock and one foot on the boat, and they go back and forth. They go, I want to do this, but maybe I can't. I want to do that, can't afford it. I want to do that, but I don't have time. I want to do that, but this, but that, and but this, and but that. And so they just stand there like this. And in order to move forward in your life, you got to take your feet off the dock and get in the boat, or you got to take your feet off the boat and get onto the dock and decide where you're going to go from there. So, and if you're going in the boat or on the dock, then how you journey is really important.
How else can someone start reprogramming their mind to create these lasting positive changes?
In many incredible ways. Now, if you're going to use affirmations, for example, and you're going to use declarative statements, power them up with like lots of physical movement and energy. I am wonderful. Dance, move, get your body going. Because the brain works on high signal value. It doesn't work on the words. Words are just vibrations. And it is the law of vibration, but it's just vibration. If I go water, I go air, they're just vibrations hitting the eardrums. So if I go, well, I feel really wonderful, I feel really great every day in every way, I'm getting better, and there's nothing to it. The brain doesn't even know. Think of it this way, Cynthia. You remember the high points in your life, good and not so good. You don't remember every lunch you had. Well, some people might, but most people don't remember every lunch they do. You know, because they're all they bleed into each other. There's nothing significant about them, but you remember that wonderful meal, or that wonderful time you were with some special person, or you were eating in an amazing place. Wherever it is where your emotions are really aroused and enlivened, then that's what the brain does. And the reason why people remember all their really bad moments is because they're all angry and they're all frustrated and they're all, or they're super depressed or whatever. And that signals the brain. This is important to pay attention to. And the more that you do those things, the more you get those things. So if it's really, really negative and really, really frustrating and really, really fearful and really, really, whatever, you get more of that. And if you get really, really happy and really, really positive and really, really joyful and really, really curious, then you get more of that. What's a choice? Which do you want? Dog crap or diamonds? Dog crap or diamonds? And then just power it up. And the other thing is movement. Dance, for crying out. We sit all day long now. Sitting is the new smoking. As a species, we evolved to move. We were plains creatures or mountain creatures or sea creatures, whatever. But we moved. We got up when the sun went up and we went down to bed when the sun went down. We didn't have, artificial light and phones and TVs and everything else. So we lived by the rising and or the sun coming up somewhere. And in the meantime, we foraged or we hunted and we sat down to maybe eat, but, or we traveled. We were nomadic. We are designed to move constantly. And yet most of us have become sitting on the couch having donuts.
But now you have those cool desks that go up and down so you can stand up during your
Right.
Zoom calls and your calls. And Dan doesn't want us to get all wet. If you don't choose the dock or the boat, you'll probably end up all wet.
That's okay. Swimming is a wonderful way to go.
Yes, it is, especially if you're a mermaid.
Indeed. Oh, yes, indeed.
What role does the law of attraction play in manifesting success, and how can our buddies apply it to their daily lives?
Well, in the same way that it's dog crap or diamonds, you choose, and what you create, you get more of. In computer language, there was a term called garbage in, garbage out. It meant that if you wrote a bad program, then the results that you would get would be bad programming results. So if you had flaws in your Microsoft Word document, not in the document that you're typing, but in the program, then when you went to use the program, it didn't work very well. Well, that's a great way of explaining to some extent the law of attraction. In other words, if you start with garbage, you end with garbage. If you put out garbage, if you put out fear and anger and all the things that we were talking about, you get more of that back because the brain takes it as hey, this is important. And the brain, the subconscious mind, is trillions of times more powerful than your conscious mind.
Yeah.
So this is why that transderivational search and questions is so important. If you say, here's what I want to do, and I don't know how to do it, okay. If you go, here's what I want to do, and I wonder how many different ways I could find to do it, or how delighted I could be, or how much joy could I have in making this happen, then your brain goes, let me think about that. Let me do that. Okay. So you want to fill it up with nice, positive, wonderful stuff that moves it in that direction, the diamond side instead of the dog crap side.
Oh, gets you out to walk your dog, pick it up.
And I've done plenty of that in my life, so, and I wouldn't have it any other way, because I've got two amazing, beautiful girl dogs. And companions, spirits, muses. They're amazing. But you're always attracting, or in some ways repelling something. Napoleon Hill said it best when he said you're a broadcasting and receiving station, although he was not the first person to say that, but we're actually walking antennas on the planet, broadcasting everywhere. The subconscious mind is that strong, billions of times stronger part of us than our conscious minded. By the way, subconscious and conscious and all the stuff that we use are just descriptions of processes that are not what the labels are. There's nobody inside you, for example, deciding whether you're good or bad or right or wrong, or whether you're helping
the way you are.
It's just electrochemical neural processes and brain wiring that we make sense of consciously because we understand language and we've come to tell ourselves stories about this stuff. But your subconscious mind is the powerhouse. It's like, the engine in the steamliner. It's the jet plane engine in the jet plane. It's the engine in your car. It's going to take you wherever you're going to go. So here's how I tell people. If and this comes from being a horseback rider. If you don't know how to ride a horse, or you can't ride a horse very well, you will go wherever the horse wants to take you. And if it doesn't want to take you anywhere, it will stay put. And if it wants to take you wherever it wants to go, it will go, whether that's around a trail and back to the barn, or whether it wants to gallop off in some way. I learned this having grown up riding horses, but not being particularly good. I was filming a movie when I was about 13 years old, and they said, who can ride a horse? And I went, I can. And I got on this gigantic horse and was off in the thing. And when it came time to come back, the horse stopped at this pond on kind of a cliff, not a high cliff, but 2 or 3 feet above the water, and started to kind of lean forward and bat the water with its hoof. And I'm starting to lean forward on the horse, and I'm about afraid I'm going to fall into the water, onto the ground, and get hurt. And I can't get the horse to stop. I can't get it. It just won't stop. I finally climbed down off the horse and tried to yank it away, and managed to finally get it away. Well, years later, I was hired to do a movie where I really had to ride and really look good. So they gave me the top Hollywood horse wranglers to train me to ride for 6 to 8 months, something like that, every day of riding. And boy, was that cool.
Yeah.
But the difference was that these horses are really well trained. They have so many commands. And if you can't ride them, you screw them up. If you're not a competent rider, you confuse the horse and it won't do anything. So you have to be really good in order to use these horses. So they train you to become a really good rider. Well, then that's when I learned that now that I'm a really good rider, I can tell the horse wherever I want to go and it will take me there. It's the engine that gets me there, but I'm the one that directs it. And what the law of attraction is all about is using your conscious mind to intend what it is that you want, to tell your subconscious mind, here's what I want, and then it can take you there. But if you don't know how to do that, then it's going to take you wherever it wants to go. It's going to just do what it's always done, which is from your growing up history. But if you learn how to direct it and send it where you want it to go, your subconscious mind will take you. And it works in conjunction with everything else, because really you're infinite possibilities and infinite resources and infinite opportunities, and they exist all around you too. So you're working in conjunction with everything in the universe. I mean, I don't think there's anything different. To say the universe is actually a huge misnomer, because you and I are the universe.
That was a beautiful explanation. Wasn't that terrific, everybody? Welcome, Susie McIntyre and Kevin and Robert. And if anybody else I didn't say hi to, thank you so much for joining us. You can put questions in the chat if you have questions for Rex.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Or you say, go ahead at me.
No, what developed tools like the attitude activator, and how do those tools help people make tangible progress?
Oh, so glad you asked. The Attitude Activator is an amazing, amazing, amazing tool that I developed based on that
It'll help you
placebo.
ride the horse?
Pardon me?
It will help you ride the horse?
Oh my God. You know, the thing is that a lot of people put out self-help tapes and hypnotic tapes and things like that. And they go, here's how to lose weight. Here's how to gain weight. Here's how to eat right. Here's how to sleep right. Here's how to feel confident. Here's how to stop smoking. Here's how, here's how to start exercise. I got to be honest. I was lazy. I wanted to do one audio program that could accomplish all those things by the way I created the program. So I created a template that is open, that encourages you to explore your own possibilities, and I'll get into more of it in a second. And then you decide how you want to use it, and then that means you can use it for multiple things. So I've had people who've had it, say, 10 years, and they use it for 20 different things. It's designed to do away with itself so that you don't have to use the tape, but some people like it so much they use it anyway, on and on and on and on and on. And people buy it and buy it again and again and again, and they give it to people. But here's the thing.
It's a good habit.
It starts with saying, because what it's designed to do is get you out of a stuck state and into a movement state. So it actually starts, this is, hey, welcome. And I put on this kind of syrupy, not syrupy, but this Southern accent, because I don't want people listening to me when we talk and going, oh, yeah, so thank you very much.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hi there, how y'all doing? Welcome to the Attitude Activator. But at any rate, so I use a little different voice at that point. But what it is it's designed to use both the hemispheres and to have different things going on both sides so that you unite aspects of the brain, and it keeps the conscious mind distracted while it appeals to the subconscious mind. And it starts with the premise of, if you have a problem and you're stuck, here's how you get out of it. So what do we know if you're stuck? What does that tell you?
You're doing repetitive something that's not working and you need to change.
Right. Like you could be stuck in the mud or the snow and you can be spinning your tires and not getting anywhere. So there'd be lots of activity, but it's not productive activity. Or essentially it means that you're stuck. You're not going anywhere. So what do you need to do? You need to be able to create movement. So the tape, audio program, CD, whatever you want to call it, is designed to get you to move from being stuck and shifting into being resourceful, getting whatever is stopping you, and then starting something. So it even does that. It will say, all these things are going on and you're having a problem and it's not working out and you feel frustrated, this and the other thing. So just stop and be different. And then it shows you how to be different. It tells you how to be different. And so it's a process that you can use to overcome limitations, to get unstuck. And people use it like I just described. They use it to go to bed at night and get up in the morning. They use it to feel energized and to feel peaceful. They use it to be curious and playful and delighted and confident, super confident and powerful. They use it to quit smoking and to start eating right. They use it for all these different things because that's how it was designed. But attitude, and this is what came from the cancer study by Travis Airford. Attitude is the number one predictor of success in every area of your life, in any activity, in every activity. And it's and I say it's the number one thing that most people disregard, because it's the most powerful thing that you have going for you is your attitude, because it determines how far you go, whether you stay, whether, whatever, it's up to you. And so here's how to think about it. If something is impossible, in order to get it to be not impossible, it has to first become plausible. But maybe there's another way of doing this. And from being plausible, it could be possible that some people might be able to do it. Maybe not me yet, but some people could do it. So it is possible that people could do this. Maybe even I could begin to do this. If I could begin to do this, and maybe I could actually do it, and maybe I can do it. And if I can do it, maybe I will do it. And if I will do it and get it done, then I get to see what the result is. So it's taking you from a stop place to making it through a go through place, so that you come back out with the results that you want, and then go, wow, aren't I cool? Pat yourself on the back and feel really wonderful about it. Because you should.
The 4 rooms of expectancy. And then you're up there in the yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and you say yes all along the way. And if you think about it this way, if you're running out of a fire and you're on fire, what do? You stop and you drop, and then you roll. So you're running, you got to stop the running. So if you're stuck or you're doing something the wrong way, first you have to stop. You have to go, oh, I'm doing something stupid here. I'm going to burn up. Stop. I'm frustrating. I'm fighting with my children. I'm doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm using excuses. Stop. Drop. Just drop it. Drop it. Drop. And then roll in another, get the flames out and then roll in a direction and get up and live and pursue in a different direction. So it's a choice.
And you always have a choice. In my acting class with Glenn Morshower, as a matter of fact, on Monday, he said, we're not responsible for the installation, what your parents' society put in your brain. We are responsible for the continuation of those things and their elimination.
And beautifully put. And I always say, you know what you got handed, but you don't need to perpetuate it. And that's what people do. They perpetuate the problems. And what a lot of people do, and I love Glenn, by the way, say hello on Monday when you're with him, is that, people carry around all their wounds, all their hurts, all their disappointments, all the stuff, all the reasons, everything. And think of it this way, Cynthia, if you wore every piece of clothing you've ever had in your entire lifetime and you had it on right now, you'd not be able to move. And that's what people do. They just keep carrying the stuff instead of dropping it, letting it go and releasing it. So yeah, whatever you got, whatever cards you were dealt, it's not about what you were dealt. It's what you do with it from that point on. So stop perpetuating the problems and the victimhood and the, people say they're survivors. And I go, that's a horrible name. And some people disagree with me. That's just, I survived. Yes. Okay. You did. Now what? How about thriver? How about start thriving?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about, and people go, well, Rex, you're too, you're too excited. You're too happy. Well, how do you want to go through life? You don't have to be, because there's a person who says, well, that's not like me. I don't do that. No, you don't have to. You can be peaceful and calm. See, charisma is not about going, ah. Charisma is about having energy, and you can be absolutely, powerful without having to do anything. In fact, sometimes you're more powerful if you're just sitting and being fully present.
Mm-hmm. And you don't lack anything. You have everything. Just go to your gratitude place, just the breath, your heart that keeps on working full time.
Amen.
And Glenn said to tell you hi too, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You were amazing, and he loved talking with you in Clubhouse.
We haven't, and I sat in on his class for 2 or 3 days or something. I absolutely loved it, and I miss him actually. I haven't spoken to him maybe a year or more, but yeah, really, that's cool.
Well, come on back. We'll get you invited. Mondays and Tuesdays.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Yeah, let's come back again.
He's working hard. He's doing amazing things. You have a long history in the field of NLP, and how has NLP impacted your approach to transformation and success? And Susie says, powerful by just being present. Love it. Yes, Susie. Susie's amazing, and she is taking that one to heart.
Well, NLP is one of the many things that I do. It's true. And,
and that's a big one.
Pardon me?
That's a big one. So many people think it's got woo-woo, but it's just another science. It's just another discipline and another way to work things. Think of Tony Robbins and Wyatt Woodsmall.
Well, Wyatt is a dear friend and colleague.
Me too. I see him all
cool. Awesome. I love Wyatt. I haven't seen him now in years either, but we're still connected on Facebook. But we used to spend days and weeks and months together in different places. NLP is really just a description of how things operate in terms of our neurology, our language, and our behaviors, and what you might do to be able to use what you have, your neurology, your language, and your behaviors to make the most of. And we have all sorts of different ways of describing it, but I always put it this way: NLP is nothing; it doesn't exist. It's just a description. It's like if I have a book. And Glenn might appreciate this. This is what I always, as an actor in Hollywood, I used to always, people say, well, what's more important, the actor or the screenplay? And I'd go,
the feeling, the emotion, the truth.
I would throw the screenplay on the floor and I'd go, act. Act. See, it takes the actor to bring it to life. So NLP is like a toolbox, and it takes the person who's got the toolbox to bring it to life. So it can be great or it can be nothing. I mean, it's not the tools are fine. It's like if I have a hammer and a saw and a screwdriver and a wrench, but don't know how to use any of them, it's kind of meaningless. But if I'm really, really good with one of them, I can do a whole lot with just that one. But if I have a couple more, I can do a great thing. The problem with a lot of NLP stuff is everybody wants to do the advanced stuff and get the next best thing, when what's truly important is the foundation, it's the basics, it's understanding principles. Tony Robbins is great for 3 or 4 different things. I mean, in terms of, he learned how to do rapport really well and future pacing and anchoring, and he mastered that, and that's one of the many reasons why he is who he is, or why he has the market share that he has, in terms of people knowing him. Also having a machine behind him was good. That was great. But he took the skills and he used his skills, and he could demonstrably demonstrate that he was good at those skills. The same thing that that Glenn does, as an actor. He's got skills that he's learned from wherever, and now he's made them his own, and now he's teaching the process, what I do, and what you do. And it is not the next best thing. It's how do you get really good with what you got? When you go to a basketball game, for example, you don't see all these guys doing trick shots or girls doing trick shots and doing the stuff. They're dribbling the ball, they're throwing the ball, they're doing some buckets, maybe they do some jump shots. If you go to a golf, they're not doing trick shots and hitting the ball off the, backboards and everything else. And they're putting, they're taking some drives. These things are so important. Whether it's baseball, football, whatever, you don't see people doing tricky dives. They do. It's just that the experts understand that warm up is really important, foundation is really important. So how you build your house depends on how strong the foundation is. So if you really want to get good at NLP or hypnosis or law of attraction or anything else, you have to build a foundation in the basics and practice them repeatedly, correctly, consistently for long enough until they wire in as habits. And once they wire in as habits, then they're automatic and reliable, and you don't have to think about them anymore, which is the same. That's true about the unwanted habits that you'd like to change. They're wired in, they're automatic, and they're reliable, and they go off, just like whenever they go off. And if you want to change them, you treat them the same way. You go, I don't want this, I want that. I want, and you make a choice, and then you practice the new behaviors correctly, consistently for long enough until the new behaviors are new habits. And there are ways to speed that process up a bit, but don't go for the hack. Go for the quality, not the time. If somebody says I can't do that because I don't have the time or I don't have the money or whatever, think about that. They're saying I'd like to do it, but I don't have the money.
Oops.
Or I'd like to do it, but I don't have the time. Or I'd like to do it, but can I shorten the process?
Oops.
You're laughing. But the thing is, what's in their head is what they can't do and why they can't do it.
Yeah, your beliefs become your destiny.
It does. So if you wanted to influence them to be able to do it, you say, oh, you don't have the money, but you really want to do it.
But you can eat and drive your car and smoke or do something else.
And provide them the other things that they do with their money. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they're making an image of themselves not doing something. I'd like to do it, but I don't have the money. So what's in their head? I don't have the money. You don't have the money, and you make that their first image, but you really want to do it. Then the last thing in their head is that I really want to do it. And now you enhance that. You make that really wonderful. And let's think of all the different ways that we can do that, and here's how you can do it and how much fun you're going to have and what we could do. And here, I'll even help you, do it myself.
And then you get all giddy and you find it in where they say down deep, right? You find it. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow. And then it seems like magic. It was so easy. You're like, where did that come from? Wow.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, so often, so many people think, but that's going to be really hard. And when it's done, they go, well, that was a lot easier than I thought. And I actually have my own quote, my own meme. It's easier done than thought.
It's
because
easier
if you do it, it'll be a whole lot easier than you think about doing it.
Dan is a cute one.
Is sitting on your butts. Exactly.
Making a list of butts is sitting on your butts. Ah, that's so good, Dan. We like it. Glenn taught us one in class. Our beliefs become our thoughts become our words become our actions become our habits become our values, and our values become our destiny.
Absolutely.
Isn't that fabulous, guys? You want to hear it again? Our beliefs become our thoughts become our words become our actions become our habits become our values become our destiny, and there you have a better life. Not only that, you have a winning life because you have it all. You have it all right inside here.
And here's the thing, it is, there are people out there, I call them empty suits. They stand in front of their trophy spouses and their cars and helicopters and jets and yachts and all the mansions and everything else. And they tell you if you work really hard and you sacrifice everything and you give up and you sweat, and then they have the memes of, here's success, and then turn them around. There's hard work and sacrifice and risk and everything on the back, knives and arrows and all that kind of stuff. You don't want to spend your whole life working on yourself. You want to have a life that's worth enjoying and to be able to play and have fun. You don't want it to be. And I used to, when we did my corporation was Idea Seminars. I've downsized. I'm Rex Sikes Productions, Rex Sikes Entertainment, but I downsized the corporation. We used to call them play shops. Another person called them play shops too. But people go, what's a play shop? We go, well, it's where you go in and you learn to do exercises and you play. And they go, well, I thought this was going to be like a workshop. And you go, well, it is a workshop. But instead of using the word work, you call it a play shop. And they go, oh my God. Okay. They couldn't understand it. So we changed it to skill shops in order to go, oh, well, here's how you develop skills. And, and my tagline is practical skills for the real world. So the thing is that people think that change and transformation must be difficult. It must be hard for it to have merit. And that's just not true. Again, children learn and change more through play and curiosity and fascination and delight and dancing and all that kind of stuff, and sitting and singing. You learn the alphabet, for crying out loud, through a song for the most part, and all of that came a whole lot easier than learning everything that you learned in high school or college or primary school, because of the way it was presented and the way you were taught to do it. Sit in your chair, take this seriously. If you get these wrong, you failed. And think about that. You have a test, and let's say you got 2 out of 100. They don't go, oh my God, you got 2 right. Oh my God, next time you'll get 3 or 4. That's fantastic. Let's keep going. They go, you got 2 right, and 98 wrong. You don't know anything. You're an idiot. And so we're not taught to have fun and to take life wonderfully, and that's society. I mean, that is the installation of society. That is,
but you can change that, ladies and gentlemen. We have all mindful people on this call, and every little drop can spread it and change it, drop by drop by drop, and you have an ocean. What films have you been in?
Probably a bigger list of films would be the ones I haven't been in.
Oh, Jim Miller, hi.
Hi, Jim Miller. How you doing?
Hi. Absolutely.
One of the
that's part of their creed.
Absolutely. I've been in a number of different films. You may or may not have ever heard of them. Recently I did a film called Shooting Star, which is a Western. I got to play a town agitator and co-starred in that. I've been in a lot of horror films and stuff. The Spade County Massacre. One is a cult massacre. Central High is a cult film, been around for 50 years. I was a teenager when I did it. Goodbye Norma Jean's about Marilyn Monroe. Things in Their Season. Our Town for NBC. Different. I mean, what haven't I done? Nothing you probably ever heard of.
Oh, I've heard a couple of those. It's amazing. You've worked with people in various industries, from entertainment to business. How do you tailor your methods to the different audiences? You play with them.
I'm a chameleon.
You're the same thing. You're a chameleon.
I'm a chameleon. Well, I mean, you have to respect who they are in the environments that you're in and the culture that you're around. And if you have stories and analogies and things that make sense for each place that you go to, then you use those as your primary ways to captivate and to help people understand what you're doing. So if I'm in a corporate setting, back in the 80s, I used to come in with long hair and a dangle earring, and I'd be in a suit coat, and I go, "I am your crazy unconscious mind," and then at lunchtime I go, "I'm your wild and conscious mind." But what I wanted to do in the corporate world was I wanted to see if I could get people out of their jackets and into their stocking feet within about a half an hour. And it was all based on creating rapport and telling stories and having them laugh and doing things like that and going, you mind if I take off my coat at some point? And they go, "No, take off your coat." "Oh, great. Can I take off my tie too?" "Oh, yeah, take it." And the bigwigs didn't like it too much at first. And I go, "Yeah, but you understand, they don't need to sit around in a 3-piece suit to learn this stuff. Let them relax, let them have a moment, and then let them get back dressed up and prepare to come back to work." And they went, "Oh, maybe you have a point there."
Playtime.
Yeah. So and nowadays, I mean, a lot of corporations have, beanbag chairs and have you play games and do it, which is what we were doing 40 years ago. And everybody's going, "You're not taking this seriously." We were doing cross crawling and dancing and body work in these NLP workshops in the 80s and the late 70s, early 80s. And I've done every kind of different therapy you can imagine. I mean, when I say violent encounter groups, I've done it. I've been banging people with batakas and being hit with batakas and body shields. Been doing all the wild, crazy stuff and all the therapeutic encounter things and dancing things. And I'm a meditator. So there's 108 forms of meditation. The dancing, there's shaking, there's all sorts of stuff. The sitting and quiet and breathing, and so you bring a little bit of all of that to the programs, and again, like acting exercises, and having fun and delight, and you watch people change. And it occurred to me, and here was the thing that really occurred to me. People are going to come and spend a month with me or 2 weeks with me or 10 days with me or 3 days. They want to have an experience.
Mhm.
And they don't even care about the information that much. They just want it to be an experience. How do you make that memorable? So we would do things that made it memorable and that provided an experience, but at the same time was powerful and transformative. And here's the downside and the upside. If somebody spends 3 or 4 days with you, or 5 or 6 or 7 days with you, or 10 days with you, and we do this all year round because I had a 100-acre retreat center and people fly in from all around the world and they spend significant amounts of time in.
What fun.
It was great. And then I would also travel all around the world, for other people and stuff. But the point is, if somebody spends a significant time learning, it's not just what they learn there, it's can they take it home? And how do you prepare them for taking it home? So if you like, I have rexsikes.com book, and here's the thing. If you get the book from Amazon, go to rexsikes.com book and put the receipt code from Amazon. It's just a deal for Amazon. You can get it anywhere else, but if you go to Amazon, put the receipt code in at that website in the appropriate place, and you get an online training called the Mastery Loop. And what the Mastery Loop is about how we learn and how we acquire skills, any kind of skill that you want, whether it's thought, word, behavior, a talent or an ability that you want to acquire, easier and quicker and faster. What happens for a lot of people, and when we talked about school and stuff, is that they want you to memorize stuff. And so what typically happens when you go to school? They start a module, they teach the module, and it might be painfully boring or otherwise, whatever. And then when at a certain point, they either give you a pop quiz and you either know it or you don't know it, or they give you a test and then you either know it or don't know it. You pass or fail. And then what happens? They go to the next module. They don't go back and review. And they don't teach you how to review. And so what happens is 80% of what you've learned is now forgotten. It doesn't become part of the foundation for it. That's why college, for all the money you spend, 80% is forgotten within a few months after graduation. And 80% of what you learn today, if you don't wire it in, will be forgotten by tomorrow or the next day. But you can maximize that. And part of the way that you do this is that you approach the topic, and you're going to get bewildered and confused. That's just a normal part of the process. It's like, somebody says, go golfing, and you go, I don't know how to hold the club. I don't know what to do. I don't, and you try it and you go, I'm not coordinated. And this, understand that it's all the confusion or the bewilderment stage is what I call in the mastery loop, gives way to clarity or understanding. And that is the process. Things clear up. It's like morning becomes evening, evening becomes morning. If you stop going, I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it, that's only affirming and staying stuck with I don't understand it. It's going to clear up for you. Just stick with it. Just stick with it. But here's the thing. In order to help that process, I do what's called drilling. So you do exercises and practices that make the skills part of your skill set. Then between that and the time that they become part of your habits, you have to enact them. So in the seminar room, what we would always do is we introduce the concept, put them in exercises, have them do the exercises, and then have them use the exercises at break and at lunch and at dinner time, and to do that throughout the entire program, so that they kept building on it and doing something and then using it, and then the next piece would fit, and then they'd use it, and then they do it, and they would use it. And then pretty soon, it'll become a habit, but it may not become a habit by the time they leave the program. So what you have to do is the same thing you would with anything else. You go home, have a good time, and when you get home, here's how you unpack this stuff. It's just like taking a suitcase and you take it all out, and then you hang it all up, or you wash it all up and you hang it all up. You do the same thing with what you're learning so that you wire it in. If you understand, there are metaphors and analogies, but the idea is that you guide somebody through the process of acquiring a skill set that they can then use, and then it becomes reliable and automatic. And when it becomes that reliable and automatic habit, and if you've done it right, then what happens is they go into what I call it's not what I call, they go into the genius phase, where it's ahas, because now you begin to use what you are doing with ways that you never thought you could, and in ways that you or I or someone else might never have thought of before, because you're free now to explore. It's the genius of Einstein and Tesla, which is one of my programs, is how do you get beyond the box to think in new and novel ways to enrich and enhance yourself so that you live the kind of life that you want to be able to live. You don't want to do self-help work so that you sit there and say, I know everything there is about self-help work.
You never can anyway, because you always are getting better to get to your next level or to stay interested. Like a ballerina, like Jim Miller's girlfriend has to do her pliés and her ranjajas and her kicks, and every single day the musician has to go through his scales. The singer has to go through his scales. The writer has to write. Every little thing, you have to be consistent. Just a little step every day. Every day, a little step.
I've written a blog for, 14 or 15 years. Every single day, I've never missed a day.
Nice.
Never missed a day. But if truth be told, if I go to the desert and I don't have internet and I know I'm going to be gone for 14 days, I write 20 or 25 blogs in advance, and then they get dripped out, and hopefully delivered electronically. But I've never missed a time in all the time that I've been writing.
And smart planning, and think about that. And guess what? Dan Altmeyer just bought the book, and who wants to know who will join him? Woohoo!
Yeah, get it now. Take your receipt code if you just bought it from Amazon and go and get your training. It's an online training valued at $497. I give it absolutely away free as a gift for those people who bought the book, because I want it to accompany the book. And here's the thing. If you bought the book from Amazon and they're mailing it to you, you'll get the training before you even get the book.
What's someone that
Pardon me?
What's someone that experienced this dramatic transformation through your coaching and methods that just has stuck with you for whatever reason?
What is what?
Someone who experienced this dramatic transformation through your
I'm going to have him on my show next week.
Oh, yeah? Who is it?
His name is Dr. Mike Procaccini. He's a guy who 35 years ago took a program from me, and last June, we hadn't talked in years, and he wrote me this letter about what it was like to be in my program, because we had a Native American who, did you ever see A Man Called Horse?
I have not yet.
Well, it's about, anyway, they take bones and the Native Americans would pierce their pectoral muscles and then hang from the tops of these things, or they do their back. Well, this Native American, that was his practice. Every year he would do this. And he came to my program, and he had been shot down during Vietnam. He had a phobia of flying. Everybody in the plane was killed except for him, but he never flew again. So now this is 1996. He's now from Vietnam. He's not flown. He comes to my workshop, and I said, want some help? He said, sure. So I had him up for 20 or 30 minutes, and we did some stuff and everything else. And he said, oh, that's great. I can fly. I said, well, let's prove it. So I paid to have him fly the next day, and we went up in a little Cessna, and I put him up. And the thing about it was, he was having a great time. I'm sitting in the back seat looking through. The plane was held together with like Scotch tape and like twist ties. I didn't know what I was getting when I called it. I didn't call, but I had the office call, and they booked this plane. So it was this rickety Cessna where I can see between the wall and the seat. I can see the ground underneath me. Thousands of people below, and look at it. It's going. Gee, I hope I get back on time. We landed, and Mike will tell you all about it and everything. He wrote me this letter. I just put it up on my Facebook wall, I think today or yesterday, because he sent me this long letter.
You should have been on Skip's plane. He would take better care of you.
Charlotte, yeah, and I have been on other planes since, but this was, and before, but this was, it was perfect though, because it was a frightening plane to fly in, and he loved it. And they got down, and everybody celebrated. He flew after that, and he went off. He actually flew to do this muscle thing.
Ooh.
I know. I don't want to do it, but he did.
You've been awarded the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. What does that recognition mean to you? Did you care? Or you just do it anyway, and it was fun?
Well, they called and said, "Hey, you've been nominated to the Presidential Lifetime thing," and I was like, "What? Me? Why?" And what it's about is about helping people. About how you provide hours of service or whatever for people, or donate hours of service and things like that. And so I was honored. And then they said, "Okay, we're vetting you, and we'll let you know." And then they said, "Okay, you got it," and I'm like, "Can you send it to me?" And they went, "No, you have to show up." I said, "You can't send it to me." You can. They said, "Yeah, so I did. I went to California to pick it up, and it's an honor. It truly is an honor. It's an acknowledgement, and very meaningful, and very, it's a profound experience to say, wow, the current administration or any administration, has acknowledged your work. I'm delighted with it.
It's fabulous. You and
I don't wear my medal.
Joe Vitale, the new Napoleon.
Yeah, Joe got it recently too. I in fact, I went out. Joe and I have known. Do you know that Joe and I have known each other 35 years? He did my home study program, the Ultimate NLP home study program, and everything else. And I've had him do some marketing stuff for me, and we back and forth. And we'd never met in person.
Crazy guys.
35 years, talked on the phone, saw whatever, served each other and helped each other and everything else. And I was told that he was getting the award, and I went out and I spoke at the thing and helped him celebrate his award, and it was awesome. It was great.
That was the first time you ever hugged in person?
First time we ever hugged in person, absolutely. Woo! Yeah, first time.
Woo!
And in fact, there's video, on YouTube and different places of here we are meeting for the first time, and it was fun. We had a good time, and we pursued some acting exercises. And here's a little side note. He do this little acting exercise. It's all about apples, and so after that, Jason Antelek and some other people, everywhere we go, there's like apples. I left somewhere and there was an apple by my car. I drive to the dog park and there's an apple there. Jason sent me a picture. He goes, "Look what I found today. It was apples." We just started to manifest all these apples all around us. It was really pretty impressive.
I've got a dozen on my counter.
There you go.
See, in the green room.
There you go.
Lastly, what's one piece of advice you would give to someone looking to make a major change in their life right now?
Call me.
There you go. Get the book.
Go to the website. Get my book. Watch this video again. Watch the show again and listen to what's been said all the time. And Jim, have a good one. And then reach out. Is people who don't reach out. So reach out, say hi, and be willing. Always be willing to invest in yourself. And I don't mean just monetarily. I mean, invest in yourself. Make yourself most important. Say, you know what, I'm going to go have fun today. I'm going to go do something simple today. I'm going to enlighten myself today. I'm going to have peace today. I'm going to do a program today. Whatever it might be. I'm going to go treat myself to a nice dinner. Be willing to do something good for yourself. And if what you want is to get over hurdles or problems or changes, well, then do it. Do something nice for yourself. And I'm here. Cynthia's here. Call.
Enjoy every step along the way, because you are amazing. I'm amazing. We are amazing.
Amazing.
Commute to work. Go to a different store. Buy something different. Make a new different meal. Experiment. Ask someone a deeper question. Find out the truth. Hey, there's one for you. Rex, it was a fabulous time, and I knew it would be. We'll just have to read and talk on life on your terms. Ladies and gentlemen, love you. Thank you so much for coming. We had a wonderful turnout. We had a wonderful speaker, and I know you're all just like on fire. Woo! Thank you so much.
You
See
said
you
I'm honored
next
and privileged.
Wednesday. Share
Thank
it out. Yes, we are honored to have you. So share it out. See you next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Cynthia Manion Show. Make wise choices.
You're amazing, Cynthia. Thank you.
Ah, you're amazing.